Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
Welcome back.
MisFitNation. MisFitNation.
We are a show founded by veterans and hosted by veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their story to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on, share some of your tips with the audience to help them become better versions of themselves. If you're a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and share how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you're a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and just share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. Reach out, we will get you on. If you are feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle, or are embarrassed to share that with them, please dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make it a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you're a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation. Be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast apps and also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. That's @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell. This will keep you up to date with all of our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Electrocast Media and About Face Radio. This will keep you tuned into us and learn more about our great guests. Speaking of which, our next guest has been a gym owner and trainer for over 10 years with Evolve Gym in Huntington Beach, California. He also is the host of the Over 40 Fitness Hacks podcast. He has the desire to help those over 40 stay in shape without losing their social life. So without further ado, let's welcome Brad Williams to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, Brad. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Rich? Thank you so much for that intro.
That's awesome. It's great to have people on here that are in the industry as well and also doing great things for others. So, Brad, I gave a tiny little introduction about you there. I'd like you to expound upon that and give the Misfit Nation a little bit more about Brad and how you got into the fitness industry over a decade ago and where it's taking you now.
Absolutely. Just first, let me start out by saying, Rich, just thank you for your service and, most of your audience being in the military. We thank you. Kind of just going into a brief background of myself being in the fitness industry. My dad was a medical doctor, recently retired. Mom was a nurse, and just kind of in the sports and fitness minded family, my whole life. And moving on to Long Beach State for business, I always know I wanted to open up my own business. My brother actually helped me out after various jobs. We opened up our first gym, Evolve Gym in Huntington Beach. And I just found a passion for personal training, helping people become functionally fit, not the bodybuilding style that you see, which is fine for some people. And I used to be into that, but mine was more of just, getting people as healthy as they can be and then kind of worry about aesthetics later. And over the course of the last, 13 years, I think I've been a gym owner with over 3 locations and over 60 different personal trainers that were, renting space at any given time. Kind of just how hard and a struggle it's been and just in California in general of running a business. I'm sure, some people may contest that, but, and then, dealing with just the competition here in Orange County. Everyone kind of claims they're a fit capital of the world. Well, I mean, we must be up there somewhere on the top 10 or 20. and there's just competition everywhere. So just all the life experiences, entrepreneurial experiences, um, and thus, having some injuries myself. I wanted to touch on that a little bit too with your audience. Um, Probably about 4 years ago, just never have I hurt myself, training myself or training anyone. Just, but accidents happen. Being a gym owner, I'm the bookkeeper, the accountant, the bathroom cleaner, the marketing guy, everything, and just moving heavy equipment, with dollies and stuff, and just things happen. And one of the days I was moving some equipment into my truck with some friends, and I tripped holding a 40-pound rack and lunged out really deep and caught myself. I usually pride myself on balance because I train my clients on that as well. Which, okay, that may not have been the greatest thing, but the worst thing was I held on to it just by instinct, just like I would hold on to something. I don't want it to fall, and just blew out my L5S1 right then and there.
Oh, wow.
And so over the last 4 years and 2 back surgeries later, just kind of, my thought process and the way I train and see health and fitness has just dramatically changed. And I've had to struggle to recoup from that and learn in different ways. And now my mindset is more of just, I'm over 40 now, which is why I started my over 40 podcast. Have real passion for helping those, and that's just kind of my clients have always been that age group since I've started. But now that I'm the over 40 fitness trainer, I'm struggling just like anyone. The aging process sucks. My body's falling apart. I do everything, and my diet used to work, and now it's slipping away. So I've got to, manage that. And then, I'm a husband and father, and work, and, just all the things I think your audience, can relate to. And just, my show and my whole reason for keeping going in the fitness world is just, I refuse to quit. And I just want to get my message out there and help people. But my main thing is, I like to have a social life, and I'm not that militant boot camp instructor or bodybuilder. Mine is more about functionally fit, feeling good. That's most important, especially for anyone who has any injuries. But also, you just got to have fun too. So that's kind of my theme and my background in a nutshell, Rich.
Definitely. That's awesome. Awesome background right there. And I know a lot of people listening to this will understand the injury portion of that, since we all have gone through it. And most of my former soldiers are now creeping into their 40s too as well. So I'm up over 50 now, and everything that hurt back then that I didn't think meant anything really hurts now when I do stuff. So you learn lessons through life like you did when you hurt yourself, hurt your back pretty bad there. And that's a horrible injury. Back injuries are horrible, and it's not a lot they can do with it without surgery or a lot of physical therapy, I guess, heating pads and chiropractic visits. But you were able to sustain and come through it, and that's a testament to you and your challenge accepted mentality there, saying, "Hey, I got this injury. I'm not going to let it hurt me and ruin my life," because you have not just you have your family and then the business to run as well. So, kudos to you for that.
Yeah, thanks. And going through something like that, I had the sciatic, which I'm sure a lot of people listening have had that in some way, shape, or form. But when you're starting to go down the pain scale of level, 2 to 5 to 10, then I start skipping by tens and going to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, and that's for some people, PT and Cairo work, and in my case, I just did it for as long as I could, and eventually, just I think I listened to one of your other episodes about the guy talking about vitality, and
Yeah.
that's kind of really resonated with me too, because that's kind of my mindset now. I really like to talk to that individual, but I chose the surgery route just because at some point you gotta fix the pain, or else I don't know what would happen after that. But 4 years after that, and I built my body back up, and I've definitely toned down what I do for myself. I train myself more like I train my over 40 clients now. So I'm in the same group, and more worried about balance and just feeling good overall than just worrying about aesthetics only.
And you also understand what can happen if you go too far now. So you have that mindset where if I hurt me and they see me in pain, it means they don't want to trust me anymore to help them live that pain-free life. And I think that's what the episode with Vitality was: living that pain-free life, finding the problem, and not just putting band-aids on it. And like you did surgery to try to get rid of that pain at the source instead of keep putting band-aids in different areas through chiropractic, through physical therapy, and other areas that people would go to for help in that instance.
Yeah. And I still do that. I treat your body like a temple. I go to a chiropractor. I have the luxury of having a physical therapist inside my gym right now, and they immensely help me even prior to surgery, just even getting to that point, strengthening my body, core, spine, everything, and then decide to do that. But more importantly, afterwards, protecting everything and, doing everything correctly and going through the process of that. And so now I'm at 42 right now, and just, the human beings I could see living to 100, 120 within my generation. You got to have a body that can take you there too. So be careful, everyone.
Definitely, you don't want to treat your body like a playground for your whole life. A lot of us do that up and through our 20s and 30s. Military people probably do it into their 40s, and then they realize what happens when you stop treating it like that and start to try to heal and do other things. It's a hard work and a hard fight to come back.
Yeah. And I think now, I've always trained for functionality as well. Just a lot of balance and protecting joints and everything. But learn to just really tone down, the weights and focus more on we call it in our profession time under tension, or some people know it as like doing negatives. You know, not just pushing something or squatting, pressing something up, but also slowing that weight down and recruiting more muscle fibers, taking your time. It's a better, more quality workout, and you can use less weight, thus helping protect your back in my case, or joints, hips, ankles, and such. So, just kind of that philosophy and mindset is really where I'm geared toward my show as well. And I've got a million different balance exercises and tips and tricks for diets and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really know what you wanted to dive deep in today, Rich.
I think talking about I guess recovery from the injuries and getting that balance back in the joints. A lot of the listeners have bad joints due to uh, time underweight. I like to call it here. And
Hmm.
from military life, carrying that big rucksack on your back with probably three-quarters of your weight on the back plus your weight for all the distances, and then realizing as you get older, you all the damage you did to yourself doing that. How can they work that damage out and maybe get their joints back to where they need to be?
Yeah. So obviously we kind of in physical therapy I've had a lot of mentors that have taught us, all personal trainers as well. Just the kinetic chain of your feet all the way up. If you have an injury such as mine, you got to put a little bit more focus on that spot, along with starting at the feet and ankles. So a lot of stuff we do at our gym and is doing balance type activities and ladder drills to help strengthen the ankle and muscles around the knees. And then a lot of I wouldn't say trainers, but a lot of clients going to like boot camp type places where maybe they're not being watched over as carefully. And there's a price tag that goes along with that. That's why it's cheaper and more affordable for everyone. But you got to be a little bit more mindful of what you're doing, because they're not staring at everything you do, and you may be neglecting muscle groups and doing things incorrectly. And the biggest thing is with clients like that come to me, they're used to a certain routine that maybe they were doing at the chain gyms, or maybe they have a home gym. And that's one of the worst things you can do, is doing the same thing every time. One, you want to shock your body, so it's always constantly trying to figure what's going on, and you get more benefit and bang for the buck for your workout. But two, just doing something like a simple leg extension, if someone has that at home or they're going to do that at the gym, doing that 2 3 times a week, every week over time. That's not a, we call it an athletic position, sitting down with your feet up while you're hinging at one spot. Over time that can do some damage to your knee, because it's not a closed chain exercise, it's open chain, we call it. So closed chain would be more of doing lunges or body squats where your feet are planted athletically on the ground in a good stance. So that's one thing I try to teach new clients, is it's okay to do some of that stuff and add it to your program, but you want to do lots of different activities. Just like everything in life, they say, do everything in moderation. Well, same thing in the fitness world as well.
Right, and that spice of life they call it. You keep everything rounded. That way, you're not hurting yourself. Especially, I mean, like when you see football players now. In the old days, it was the squats, the bench press, and then the I guess bench press, squats, and deadlifts was all they were doing, and that's all they would claim to do.
Hmm.
And all those guys, you see how they walk around. You see how Terry Bradshaw walks around. You see how those guys how they walk around. Whereas you see the newer football players, as they've learned functional fitness and they've learned how to treat their bodies like temples and feed it right and also work out correctly, they look a lot leaner, especially if you look at linemen now compared to 15 years ago. They don't look as robust as they used to. They look a lot trim. They look more like they'll live a lot longer after they get out of the game.
Yeah, they're just, I mean, that's just the time and century that these athletes are coming from now. I'm sure even, 100 years from now, they're going to be laughing at our stuff, but yeah, but just seeing like the new style of, going to sticking with football. I mean, what kind of talent they have on their team, like the best chiros and physical therapists and
Right.
aides that all help them. And you watch videos of them working out and they'll still do bench press and heavy squats and powerful like deadlifts and that kind of stuff, but in the mix of like 100 other different exercises
Right.
to make sure that they're going through each plane of motion and trying to work every single possible, recruit every muscle fiber you can in each specific muscle, and then training for strength, training for power. But that's more the athletic world. It's cool to see. I'm super into all that kind of stuff, but mine is more of the average Joe and Jane coming in. And one of the biggest things we say is, you can still train like an athlete within reason, even though you're not an athlete, but it's just a healthier, more functional way to be in your body. So, whether it's 20 years old or 80 years old, we train them the same, but just, a little more carefully for the elderly.
Definitely. You don't want to lose them in the gym.
No.
That'll cause them more headaches in the competition. It'll be all over you for that one.
Yeah, wouldn't be a good business model either.
I'm sure you'll be on some TV show for that one. Especially California.
Exactly.
Definitely. And that the healing portion, knowing when to stop, is that something you try to train your clients as well? Hey, you know your body, you know what wrong feels like. How do you get that into their head to, hey, I need to just stop and maybe try a different thing or maybe take a break?
Yeah. And the easiest way to do that is having them start, doing a journal or maybe it's just if they're coming to me, usually 3 times a week would be the max to come to a personal trainer. I'll be asking those questions. How do you feel today? How's your knees? How's your legs? Because it matters how you feel each day. I'm not going to have them do their max weight for that day if their nutrition wasn't good, or maybe they haven't recovered enough. So we'll skip it. There's a million different exercises we can do and ways to go. And another thing I do with my over 40 is I'm more into full body workouts and very effective and quality workouts. Like we're going back to the time under tension and negatives and that kind of stuff. Because just the whole theory of back in the day, the Arnold bodybuilding days, where you write your splits off of doing all legs one day, all chest, all back. You can get away with that kind of stuff in your 20s, even though that's not the best way to train if you're looking for athletic performance and functional performance. But that's what we do with our clients. And if they want to put a little extra focus on a certain body part and we deem it okay for the program, we'll you also got to be excited about coming too. So, but as long as the core philosophy is checking in with them, making sure that health and how you feel is more important than what we're going to do today in the gym. As long as you pass that, we proceed.
Definitely. And that's a good mindset right there, because there's a lot of people that will just put their head down and barrel through. And if you're not checking in on them, they won't tell you. And they'll say, yeah,
Yep.
I'm fine. And then they'll go home and they'll sit in an ice bath or Epsom salt for hours and then come back to you 3 days later and say, oh, that was great. And I just couldn't move yesterday or something.
Yep. And that comes down to, the more experienced trainers. We pick up on everything. I pride myself on I'll usually would train semi-private, a few people at any given time, and still give them an individualized program, but it helped cut down the costs. But still, you just get so good at reading the room and catching people's vibes and who's lying, who's shaving off reps. But also, if you see a little motion of someone's a little sore somewhere, nope. And clients don't like to speak up, but you got to keep pushing them. Yes, you do not want an injury. The over 40 crowd, it just takes too long to recover each time, and it's not what we want.
It actually gets longer and longer each time you get hurt. So
Yeah. If I'm having these issues at 42, I can already see,
foresee it. Yeah.
gotta really take it safe.
I was 46 and I tore my rotator doing bench press, but I kept
Yep.
going. I felt it. I knew something bad happened, but I said I had to finish this workout before I go to a doctor. So I kept pushing. It just made it worse. So I just tore it more and more and more. I went to work with just my arm hanging down, and boss, you need to go to the doctor. I said, I got to finish the day. I got to go. I can't list work for this. This is all right. It's just an arm. Then I finally went to the doctor, and I got it taken care of. But it took months to come back to near strength, and I stopped doing any bench press from that point. Oh, I guess dumbbell bench press. I do now
Dumbbells, yeah.
machines only. I only do machines now, so I know what I can and can't do.
Yeah, and that's that one does take a long time. They put you in that sling and everything, and it's hard to
Yes.
live your life, but it's actually a pretty successful recovery, and an easy surgery of coming back to kind of full power versus other ones like hip, knees, and all that. Even with what they can do nowadays, it's still you only get back to like 80, 85% just from
Right.
what I've seen with clients and family members.
And it's how much you want to pay and how much you want to fight that comes into that equation as well. So
That's
it's
it.
the fight or flight senses will come into effect for many, especially I'm sure you see it with your clients. If those who disappear, that they just took that flight and left. This is too much for me. I don't want to do this no more.
Yep. And
Yeah,
just and then also going back to the more experienced trainer, knowing someone coming in and what they want to do and how aggressive they want to get to it. We also know, just being the game, one, that's not the greatest thing for you, like we were just talking about, but also we know that if you have one little miserable experience or you're too sore, you're most likely not going to come back either. So it kind of plays in with the marketing and retention of the personal training game.
and you won't do the things that you're told to do between sessions, like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You won't do that stuff, and it works against you in that matter. And in the beginning of the show, you talked about the competition where you are, and anyone can just look up Orange County, California, and see how many businesses say they're fitness businesses, and especially on the beach areas, especially people want to look sexy out there and be on that beach.
Mhm.
How did you get in, and maybe give some tips on how you stayed active in the industry to fight off all that competition?
Yeah. Well, one of the big things I learned, I mean, the first thing I did, because I saw in the industry that everyone was doing more private training. That was kind of the standard, or maybe tandem, where that person brought a friend or a family member. I just knew that was a little too much. And after the 2008 market crash, times were a little bit tough for people financially. And I started, and it existed already, but I started pushing the semi-private training as my bread and butter. So, 3 to 4 people, five if it gets that crazy, but that's enough to where the trainer can, effectively watch people's form, still talk to them, give them the full experience in like a small private gym. But they've got the camaraderie of other people there, but they know that they're on their own individual program. Someone wants to work more on weight loss, someone wants to work on, body sculpting a little bit, and some might be, going for more athletics, and that's fine. It's easy for someone trained in this style to do that. And then over time, a lot of other people started doing it, and then the boot camp gyms came in. So the Orange Theories and F45s and that kind of stuff, and they took it to another level. And boot camps had existed, but not engineered and manufactured marketing machines like these new styles were coming out, and they just cut the price even in half again. So I actually made a switch to go after independent contractors, because I already had some. Instead of having employees, have trainers come in, set up a business within themselves, just like a barbershop,
Yeah.
and give them rules, and they give me their insurance, but I don't tell them what to do, therefore they can never be classified as employees. And then I just started marketing only to them. So at one point I had 3 gyms, and I was one of the only games in town where trainers, if they wanted to go out on their own, I was like one of the only homes.
Yeah.
Then fast forward a few more years, then California passed an awesome law, thanks to Uber and Lyft, called the AB5 law. And basically it said, okay, well, you can classify employees like this and independent contractors like this, but we're going to add a new rule. Even if you pass all those things to say that, okay, they're not an employee, if that person, that individual, does the same type of business as what your business promotes, employee, no matter what.
Oh, wow.
Like, you're kidding me. Every nail salon, barbershop, uh, other private gyms and hair salons that run it like this, we all just got decimated.
God.
And they gave us a year to fix it on our books. My lawyer and accountant are basically like, this, you get one labor lawsuit, you're toast.
Good
And
Lord.
so, and at that point, I was already kind of dwindling down my 3 gyms to one anyway. So kind of threw a wrench in the thing there. And COVID came, that also didn't help in this process.
Right.
So at the end result of all of it, I was just like a lot of trainers, we were all kind of forced into the online world, which I found podcasting was awesome, an awesome tool, and I loved doing it. And I had already started online training as well, and just found it, even more fulfilling, because now I'm not just stuck in a 1 mile bubble around my gyms, because that's all people would drive from, is a couple
Right.
miles around, because there's too many options. And now I've got the entire world. My podcast, most of it's in the US, but I've got a good chunk in Australia for some reason. But it just teaches you the scalability, and then
Right.
meeting awesome other podcasters and guests. It's just been a fulfilling experience, and I can keep doing my passion of fitness, and niching for that over 40 crowd.
Definitely. And the reach of the podcast world is way bigger than I thought it was. Like you said, you have Australia, I have people in Nepal listening to mine, which I'm guessing they're climbing Mount Everest, listening to podcasts or something. I have no
Yeah.
idea, but I thought that was pretty cool when that popped up. I had a couple guests from Australia and New Zealand early on in my podcast. They were amazing. So hopefully you can get some guests from that side as well. And that also helps you grow your Pacific fleet there. So it'd be
Yeah,
good.
that'd be great.
Like I told you when we were writing back and forth, my daughter just got NASM certified, but she was doing online fitness before that, and she had the books and everything. She just wasn't certified yet, and she went and got certified. And now she's that gym that's at the beginning of my show, Trifecta, is
Mhm.
where she's an independent contractor there.
Oh,
Kind
very
of like
cool.
what you were saying. So she has, I think, 3 classes, 3 times a week, so 3-hour classes that she does there, and she loves it. And I told her once they made her independent contractor, try to form her own LLC to protect that. Is that something
Absolutely.
you had your contractors do as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, they'd all have to have their business license, and for most of them, they were okay as sole proprietors. But when you start doing more online stuff, and you're going outside of like California with some clients, it's better to protect yourself with LLC. I happen to be an S corp because I just had multiple gyms and needed a little bit more protection. But yeah, definitely having that LLC is just the protection you need for this day and age. And that's
Definitely.
good that she got there. I would only recommend, I told you I'd talk to her if she ever wants to talk to a gym owner who's been in the business. And my first thing will be, don't open up a brick and mortar gym. No way. And at least promise me you'll never do it in California.
I'll be surprised if she ever leaves here.
But if she's enjoying being a personal trainer, and then the online world, I mean, she should do podcasting or something to bring in that audience as well. And I think she'd be happy with that.
Definitely, I'll let her know, and I'll link you two together. I'll give her your email address. Let her make the first step. That way,
Yeah.
I'm not forcing her to do anything. So, if you can give tips or tricks to someone that's getting into the industry, if you had 3 of them that could have been given to you when you started, what would that be?
Yeah, one is, go find it, if you want to go the route of working for a chain gym, it's a little rough, but they do teach you a lot and get you certified. If you don't want that, it's okay. Get get certified on your own and go look for a private gym to go rent space from. you know, Unless you really have the passion for brick and mortar, do it way later. I kind of just jumped into it and went there first at the same time as being a personal trainer. Had I gone back and just worked on marketing, which was my passion too, just on myself, not my entire gym, I'd have been way better off and just killing it and only having to pay a small amount of rent to the house. And then I could have met everybody. And if I wanted to start a gym at that point, I'd already have built-in business ready to go, or all the marketing I would have been doing in my own website and all that kind of stuff. I could have really pushed at that time, the online world a lot quicker too. So, but the other part is, never stop learning. Certifications only can teach you so much. The chain gyms can only teach you so much. Reach out to other people, not just in your community, but out there across America, across the world, because everyone thinks differently. Everyone has cool little tips and tricks and different styles in the fitness world. And just the more knowledge you gain, the more powerful and better trainer you become.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing it. And Brad, how does someone get in contact with you? What's the best way to find you?
Yeah. So right now, just my podcast, Over 40 Fitness Hacks, just on your favorite podcast, iTunes and Spotify is the biggest ones. And then my website is over 40 fitness hacks, and 40 is 40 spelled out. And then we have contact form on there and my email address. And yeah, if anyone wants to reach out, that's the best way.
Awesome. And the website is scrolling across the bottom right now. So if you can see that and take a visual picture of it, you got it. It'll also be in the show notes. So you can reach out to Brad and get his tips, tricks, and maybe have him train you to have a functional life over 40.
Awesome.
Brad, thanks for coming on, and thanks for taking some of your time to hang out with the Misfit Nation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rich, for having me on the show.
No problem. Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. It's themisfitnation.com to catch up on all of our episodes and also to get some of that great Misfit Nation gear. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Fit Nation.